All right. Hey, everybody. I have Jason and Missy Improta from Calabasas, California. They're from Compass Real Estate. Figured I'd get one of the best agents in the area to talk a little bit about the market. How's it going, Missy and Jason?
Hey man, how you doing?
Pretty
Pretty
good. Pretty
good.
good.
Different life right now.
Yeah,
For sure.
I'm sure it's equally strange there as it is here right now,
lots of time at home.
I think I'll leave it a little stranger here in California.
but equally essential. Everybody still needs to move, whether it's to or from wherever we live. I think that's kind of just the way it is, and equally essential there and here.
For sure.
So, what's as far as market wise, like what is the Calabasas area like? Like, where is Calabasas? I know lots of people hear it on TV, but there's obviously more to Calabasas than TV. Where exactly is Calabasas located?
So we're basically northwest of the city of Los Angeles. So there's an area called the San Fernando Valley. We're on the western portion of that.
We're called the West Valley.
Yeah, so we're technically part of this valley, but really we are really well positioned between LA, Malibu. So, we're 15 minutes from the beach, maybe 20 minutes from the beach.
And I've been out by you guys. That was the biggest surprise, I think, more than anything, was the fact that you're like, hey, you guys want to go to Malibu? And we get in the car, and 10, 15 minutes later, you're right in smack dab in the middle of Malibu, right by Pepperdine, right?
Right, exactly. Spits out right there.
You just hop on a canyon road, and 20 minutes later, you're at the beach in Malibu. So while we are inland and it is hot in Calabasas, you're super close to both the beaches as well as Los Angeles.
So would you say 20-degree swing, 15-degree swing?
20 to 30, depending on the day.
Wow, 30.
Yeah.
It could be as high as 30.
Literally.
Mhm.
Wow, yeah, that's
Once
definitely
you come up
different.
over the hill and you start going down toward the ocean, you can just watch the thermometer in your car drop.
In fact, if I left, it's about 85 right now. If I went to the beach, it's probably overcast and in the low 60s is my guess. Well, actually, it's kind of equal now, but sometimes it drops that much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and suddenly it's summer. Out of nowhere, we've gone from 60 degrees to summer overnight, pretty much.
Yep.
For sure.
Totally.
So Calabasas, you said what was the name of the valley again?
San Fernando Valley.
So San Fernando Valley. What type of people would you say, as far as like anybody who would live in Calabasas, move to Calabasas? Where are they working? Do they tend to work in the area, or do they work somewhere else?
Well, the big draw for the majority of people that live here is the school system. Has been for decades. In fact, it's what brought us out here. We were in Santa Monica for about 10 years before we came out here. And since we've lived here, we've discovered most of our friends and clients are the same thing, right? So you might live in LA and work at Century City or Beverly Hills or Hollywood.
Right, like we have attorney friends and clients who work in the heart of LA. We've got entertainment clients who work in Hollywood. We've got clients who work downtown, which is even further, a little bit past LA. We've got clients who work on the west side. So it's definitely a commute, but people do it because they can have a beautiful suburban gated lifestyle in Calabasas with incredible public schools. So, you might be able to spend a little bit, less on your home in Calabasas than you would in Los Angeles, and you've got a yard and a pool and maybe a view and a gate.
For a lot less money.
Yeah.
And what's the distance, would you say, from downtown LA to Calabasas?
Well, there's as the crow flies, and there's driving, and that could be a huge swing. Anywhere from 35 minutes with no traffic to a couple hours.
But
And I guess even downtown LA is kind of a big general area, isn't it?
LA is like a city of sprawl. It's not condensed like San Francisco, New York, Chicago. It's really kind of very spread out. So when people first come here for the first time, they're like, this isn't at all what I thought Hollywood was going to look like. Things are pretty spread out. It's actually not that far, maybe 15 miles.
Yeah, it's pretty close. I don't know the
It's
exact.
just-
15 miles from Calabasas to downtown LA?
Or maybe a little bit further to downtown. It's not that far.
Here, I'll tell you. I'll look it up. I'm not sure.
You don't have to look it up, no.
It's not that far, but it can be far if you're in your car.
Yeah, no, but either way, it's the same. I lived in New York City. You lived in New York City. We were dead center of Manhattan, and we commuted out to New Jersey, 12 miles. But 12 miles one day could be 30 minutes. Another day it could be an hour and a half. But the reason we did it was the same as you guys. We did it for the great schools, the extra space, cheaper prices, And the
Yep.
beauty of actually being in a suburb, getting in your car and going to an actual supermarket, not having to
Yeah.
shuffle with 1,000
Feeling
people.
like you're having a real lifestyle. You know, there's drive-through Starbucks here.
Yeah,
So
you
yeah.
can't beat that. Come on.
That's
So
it.
what would you say the average income or demographic of Calabasas would be?
Well, what's interesting about Calabasas for real estate is that the range is really big,
It's really big.
right? So in the last year, I think the lowest price home was somewhere around 700,000,
Mm-hmm.
and the highest price was around 8 million. So that's a pretty big spread.
Mhm.
So you've got a big range of and there's a lot of,
And that's not even Hidden Hills. That's just Calabasas.
yeah, Hidden Hills was more like 2 million to 22 million. So
Yeah.
big spreads.
So
and
and that's your marketplace. It's a mix of both Calabasas and Hidden Hills.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
you know, most
What
of
would-
the sales are probably 1.7 or 1.8 million. That's maybe the average.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
most of the sales taking place between 1 and 2 million. That's the majority. But you know, like I
Yeah,
said,
like
there's a range.
if you're a regular family who wants a 4-bedroom house with a pool in a gated community, you're going to spend probably between 1.5 and 2 million. And that's not going to be for something super fancy with an amazing view. And it'll be a home that was probably built in the late 80s, early 90s. So, you know, Calabasas can really go up from there, and Hidden Hills as well. Hidden Hills, a $2 million property would be a lot. You'd be tearing down a little old lady's house and building a spec home. You know, and then if you wanted a home in Hidden Hills that was a livable home, you're going to start at 4 million and go up from there.
So
What's
what,
interesting is back in February, there was an article that came out. I don't know who published it, but it's in different, you can find it in different websites. But Calabasas apparently eclipsed Beverly Hills as the richest city. So our average income is somewhere around 200,000. It's actually supposedly about $4,000 higher than Beverly Hills average. So I'm not sure
really?
where those stats come from, but that came out back in February.
Wow, that's actually really surprising, and I guess makes sense too. You're a bit of a bigger city, I would think, than Beverly Hills, aren't you? Or
Well, we're about 28,000. We're actually not that big.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
Kind of a bedroom community, which is nice. And I think that's what draws a lot of people, as well as a lot of celebrities, is that you've got a smaller community that tends to trend more high-end, more affluent, more educated. And then you've got the security of the gates. So we have a lot of people moving from the San Fernando Valley, like Encino, Sherman Oaks, which are really nice areas, but they're coming to our open houses in Calabasas and saying, I want a gated community because I'm having break-ins where I live.
Oh wow, really? And what would you say the biggest draw? Like you made a good point, like somebody coming up from South or wherever else from the LA area. What would you say the most common comment somebody makes when they walk into an open house? Is it that, like the safety, or is it the space? Like what's the most common thing that people seek?
Well, the schools bring them out.
Yeah.
And then I think it's just, what can we get for our money?
And what does it feel like? Because there's other
Yeah.
communities, say south of LA, that might offer similar things, good schools,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but cost becomes an issue. So what do I get for that 2 million I'm going to spend or whatever it is? And so,
Yeah.
and do I want to live here? Do I want to live there? It might just be a feel. So,
It's kind of like almost an Orange County vibe in Calabasas. Things are very planned development feeling. So that's actually really nice. You know, you have planted medians on the streets, and you've got this gorgeous shopping center called the Commons, and you know the garbage cans have copper inserts. Like everything's like, everything's kind of shiny, and people like that. You know, that's the kind of place that you want to raise your kids. And so the schools bring them out, and then they see what it's like. And you know, Calabasas is an affluent place to live, but you're still going to get more for your money than you would buying right in Los Angeles or on the West Side.
So in that case, like I know you just mentioned you said the Commons, right, is the name of the area. So what would you say, like life in Calabasas? Where do people go to shop, dine, outdoor recreation? Like what would if I wake up Saturday morning at 8 a.m. and I go to sleep at 11 p.m., what would a day look like in Calabasas?
Well, you'd start at the farmer's market on Saturday morning. Everybody goes to the farmer's market, and you may grab brunch at, you know, Sagebrush Cantina.
And is the Commons kind of the meeting spot for most people, or a lot of little areas like that?
Yeah, the Commons is sort of the main developed shopping area. So it's your larger strip mall with the theater and a Ralph's and several restaurants and some shopping. And then there's Old Town Calabasas, which is really cute. It kind of looks like a little Wild West town. That's where Sagebrush Cantina and the Farmer's Market and some Peddler's Fork, some additional restaurants are there. But really it's pretty small. You can eat at all the restaurants in Calabasas over the course of 1 week easily. So people are outside a lot, playing tennis, jogging.
We have a nice lake, so there's a big path that goes around that with a big park next to it, so people are kind of jogging around that. But because it's so small, people will spill out to Woodland Hills, which is next door, where there's an enormous mall. Actually,
we also have a really nice country club.
We do have a
beautiful golf course,
which is closed right now. But anyway.
And before that, Jason was there hitting par, of course.
Yeah. Birdie, what are you talking about? The country club is centrally located here, which is great. And for residents who come here, it's actually, as country clubs go, super affordable, quite a bit actually. And
especially compared to LA. I know you had mentioned that to me, and I looked it up, and the difference is immense. And in LA, it's a very tight membership as far as certain places, even just to get in. Yeah. And when you had told me what the cost is in Calabasas, I was really quite surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, and that's another draw. People can do that kind of thing, which maybe they can't do in LA, which is really nice.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So obviously, you guys work in real estate. You were luxury agents in the Calabasas Hidden Hills area. How did you guys get into real estate? Where did you start? And what brought you on your path all the way to Calabasas and Hidden Hills?
Well, she started, so I'll let her
tell her story. I was dancing in New York and basically auditioning and waiting tables. And I decided that I was ready to make money. So I got my real estate license and I worked for a year on the Upper East Side.
But in fairness, that stemmed from what you did as a child.
My dad owned apartment buildings and whatnot as a kid, and I, helped. Basically, I cleaned and painted and laid tile. It wasn't like I was doing anything high end, but
no. But you saw the value of real estate
for sure. So I did a year in New York, and then I said to Jason, I think I'm going to continue building clientele. And so we should figure out where we want to live forever before I do another year of this. And he said, no offense, but I don't really want to move to Wisconsin. That's where I'm from. And I said, okay.
From somebody with that one.
Yeah. Okay. So
my wife's from Wisconsin too, so I would get in trouble if I said that as well.
Right? Totally. So anyway, we came out here and got my license right away. And I've been a realtor for 22 years now. I basically eat, sleep, and breathe it. And in 2004, Jason joined me. And this was before teams were a thing. So for us, it just made sense. We worked together really well. And he was already helping me with the business because he was an art director. So I had really great marketing because he was designing everything for me.
And I have to admit, your marketing is great. You guys do a great job. Every time I see anything that you guys put out, it's always just crisp, clean, and really beautiful. So hats off to you guys. Your marketing is
art director.
Yeah, seriously. Where do I get one of those?
I know, seriously.
That's what I was doing before. And it just, like she said, I started helping her, and it just, we work well together. We even waited tables many, many moons ago when we were young. So we know how to work together, and it just is a natural fit. So I just started applying that to her business, and then,
And it's a nice mix. It's having a husband and wife team. Honestly, every husband and wife team I've ever met, it's nice because you have the man and woman, feminine, masculine, like you have both angles to every situation, which honestly is a nice thing to have. You often see with other teams that they tend to blend a guy and a girl, or man and woman, but when you have it in your own family and it's a couple, there is nice pluses to that because you are bringing both sides of the coin, which I know we had talked about before, Jason. I just think that is definitely something that is a plus, having both of you as a team.
Yeah, it's a huge part of our success. I mean, like you said, there can be other teams out there with a man and a woman, but we can finish each other's slots. So it goes a little bit deeper than that.
Yeah.
And in any transaction,
people feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, I think people.
There's just I don't know. There's an intangible. We hear clients say things to us like, "I don't know, I just knew," right when you guys walked in the front door. that you were the person that we wanted to sell our house.
And it helps that you're ridiculously knowledgeable of your market. You live there, you eat there, your daughter goes to school there. So I think in many ways, that's such a huge plus. So many people
Sure.
try to sell in a market, but live somewhere else.
Yeah.
And there
It's not
seems
the
to
same.
be, that's just not the same. We see it all the time in our business. Oh yeah, Beverly Hills, I could sell there.
Right.
You're
Sure.
like, but you live in Orange County. How, like,
Right.
you don't know where to shop. When someone turns to you and says, where can I get the best croissant in town?
Mhm.
You could probably answer that question in 5 seconds, right?
Right.
But
Right.
equally, you could say, price per square foot wise in Hidden Hills, this is a deal. And we need to jump on this today. Or you know what?
You'd be able to recognize that quickly, right?
Yeah. Yeah, which is a massive plus because you live there and that's your life. Like, and that definitely transposes into your clients because then you're there to help them when they have the right questions.
Yeah, knowing which street's better, which, how the gates compare, what this one offers versus this one, and whether this is better for a family or a single person or whatever the case.
Or what to avoid at 5 o'clock when there's California traffic, or if it's even possible.
It's all the time. It's not even 5 o'clock. Sometimes you'll drive
It's
somewhere
crazy.
at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday and be in just locked traffic, and you're just.
That's because it's LA. We always
Yeah.
wonder, like, what do these people do? Like, who has a job? Because they're out at 11 a.m. and 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. and it's constant.
So we kind of touched on a little bit, like between you guys and Compass, like what is it that you bring to the table that's different than anybody else in your marketplace? I know definitely we kind of touched on the fact that your marketing is impeccable and beautiful, but what other things would you say that you bring to the market, especially with Compass?
Well, there's a lot of things I think that we bring. So Compass specifically we already brought a tech platform to our process before we joined Compass. It was always important to us, and it's always allowed us to be innovative and advanced in the process. But Compass is a company that's built on its own tech platform that mirrors what we're already doing. So I don't have to reinvent the wheel every time we have a new
Less
listing.
cumbersome. Yeah.
It just makes our entire process smoother. So it allows us to spend more time with our clients and servicing them versus, worrying about the tech behind the scene.
Yeah, and that's really like Compass as far as real estate companies, I guess if people don't know, is probably the fastest growing brokerage in, I don't know if it's history, but I know in recent history by far. It's insane where they've come from. My brother was at the first office in Compass in New York City, and I think there were 15, 20 guys there. And now look, we're, 10, 15 years later? No, not even that long. Has it even been 10 years?
It's been like 8 years.
Yeah.
Which is just, it shows you the difference in today's economy to 10 years ago. When someone has a tech-based platform and they get investment, then everyone who jumps on board. What makes this company different, though, is the fact that you guys have gone from New York to California, and not only area-wise covered the entire country, but they've taken on some of the best agents in the entire country that other people were trying to get for decades.
That's what it is right there.
Yeah.
They focus. Yeah. They have a minimum requirement to even be considered to join Compass.
Well, and their goal all along was 20 by 20, right? It was the top 20 markets by the year 2020. That was always Compass's goal. So, and they were able to do that. So they didn't go after, let's just open an office in Colorado Springs. It was, let's start in the largest markets and fan out from there. So it was a very strategic approach. And I think that's why they were able to get so much funding from, SoftBank and among others. And once the money is there, then what is great about Compass is they're able to offer programs that nobody else can offer. I mean, starting with concierge, there's brokerages out there trying to mimic it. It's not the same. Almost all our sellers use it.
Your concierge program, I remember when you described it to me, I think I may have texted Jason like 15 times in the next 5 days. Like, wait, what? Wait, you guys, they do that? Like, what's the contract? Like, oh my God. Like, yeah. And Jason's like, I can only share so much with you. But yeah, it is what it is. Like, that actually is a game changer in so many ways. And Compass just seems to continue to come up with these different strikes and angles and ways to give benefits to a client, as opposed to just opening doors and selling real estate. There's so much more to it.
Yeah. Well, what Robert Refkin, the CEO, is really trying to do is he's trying to support his agents. So it's an agent-centric brokerage versus a just a business model. His mom growing up was a single mom, and she was a realtor, and he just saw her struggle. He saw her trying to do everything herself. And he's
well,
like,
and as you know, we do everything in this business.
we do everything.
We don't just sell houses. I mean, it's a rather complex process.
We wear 1,000 hats.
I am waiting for the day that everything we do has cameras behind it. Because right now there's TV shows where you see everything in front of it, but you don't see the behind it. Like even listing photos where behind the camera is about 16 pieces of furniture so you can get the clean look and the nice angle of the room, and then you move out of the way and all the furniture falls down.
Yeah.
And then you switch it up. Like
why we don't put closet pictures on the MLS.
Yeah, or a lot of garages, things like that, because that's where everything went when you decided to do the photos. But yeah, no, that's a good point. Like there's so many hats that we do have to wear, and I think a company like Compass is trying their best to give you, I guess you could say, tools or resources to be able to let them help you focus on helping your client and focus on what you do. But, like you said, marketing, all that takes forever. It's so many hours.
Yeah, he's trying to give us everything we need in one spot versus, trying to piecemeal it together along the way to create a business that works. They're trying to provide that, but it's about his vision and coming from his heart, because of his mom. I mean, that's what motivated him to do this. It's all about the mission statement, and his mission comes from the heart. And I think that's what's propelling this company almost more than anything else,
And I've seen him speak at a few events. Honestly, he wears his heart on his sleeve. And you can definitely tell that everything that he is doing for the company and for your clients is from the heart. And hearing his story is actually a great story. So if anybody wants to look up the Compass story online, it's worth the read because it is such a great background. So sorry to wander off. I get so excited about Compass sometimes, and I have to keep talking about it. But is in the like Calabasas and Hidden Hills market, is there anything you guys would say that you specialize in the area? That is there a specific like I should say community or a specific price point? And as far as team, I know you had mentioned that. What is your personal team made up of, and how is that kind of sized up or spaced out between your team as well?
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say we specialize in any one niche within Calabasas Hidden Hills. Mm-hmm. Pretty much everything in our area. We, if somebody wants to buy an investment condo here in Calabasas, there's not many of them, but no problem. Obviously, we service areas outside of Calabasas as well. This just is where we live, where we farm, where we do most of our business. And our team, we have a full-time sort of director of operations who helps us with so much of our marketing, all of our back end.
And we know how long that social and everything else can take. Just posting alone is like a full-time job. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have one sales partner on our team who, she's doing her own business with our assistants. So right now we're a small team. We'll probably grow a little bit. I think as the market shifts and changes and as agents feel a little bit more of a pinch, I think it's going to be easier and easier to attract really great talent to our team. And
the big thing is in your type of market, I think that's actually nice because people know that when they call your team that they're going to get you and Jason, and you also have somebody behind you that's there all day long answering the phones and doing the things that you can't always do because you're there for your clients. When you're doing showings, you're there, you're with them, you're explaining the property, you're answering their questions, you're not answering your phone and trying to send out social posts. Like that shows how professional you guys are. And honestly, I think that's a nice touch. Like if I were to sell my home and I knew that the people I hired were the ones I was going to work with, that would make me feel really good as well.
Right. We do all of our own showings, and we let our clients know that. Like one of us is going to be showing your home because we're going to sell it the best. And we're the ones that you hired to do the job.
And that's
So,
true, because when I was there, you guys nearly convinced me to buy a house there, honestly. By the time I was leaving, I was like, I guess I want to move to Calabasas. God.
yeah.
But if people wanted to find you online, what would be the best place on the internet? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram? What are your handles? What's the best place online to find you?
Well, we are just about everywhere. I suppose if you Google Improta Team, that would probably be the shortest path towards finding us. The website's improta.com, IMPROTA. Then you've got the Improta Team on Instagram, Improta Team on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. We've got a big YouTube channel. We do feed that through our website. So
Recently, you guys did a couple dozen videos, I want to say it was. Every day I saw a new one popping up, which was great.
We're doing it 3 a week on average, I'd say. So we're just trying to offer especially with everything going on in the market right now, everybody's market, COVID, coronavirus, quarantine. Most people are curious as to what's going to happen or want to know what's happening as it's happening. So our goal is to just share that information as we move along. And sometimes it's more just general real estate related because people maybe don't know what contingencies are. So we'll talk about that or whatever the case may be. So.
Yeah.
And sometimes even by the third house, people don't really know what escrow is.
Right.
So when you say you're in escrow, by that point, anybody who's following you, if they've been watching your videos, they're like, oh yeah, I saw you explain that in your video. But yeah, even after I've seen with clients 3 or 4 houses sold, sometimes they still are like, what is escrow again? So I think that's all really helpful for your clients and anybody else, I guess, wanting to learn about real estate. So either way, as friends, as awesome agents, I want to say thank you for joining me. I guess it's not in person because we can't do that. But I guess Zoom is the second way of life now, if not becoming first.
Right, totally.
For sure.
And either way, we're long overdue for seeing each other. But I want to say thank you. And if anybody's looking to buy a house in Calabasas or Hidden Hills, the Improta Team is definitely where it's at. But either way, thank you guys so much. And honestly, amazing agents. If anybody's looking for somebody in that area, you definitely have to reach out to the Improtas. Thank you guys.
Thanks
you,
for
Brandon.
having
Appreciate it,
us.
man.
Good to
Yeah,
see
of course.
you.